All right, X Report wrestling fans, it's SummerSlam weekend, so you know what that means. You know what time it is. It is time for predictions, and because it is both SummerSlam and NXT Takeover, you guys know me. You know I can get a bit long-winded with my explanations and opinions, so I'm going to try my actual best to make this go by fairly quickly, especially because it's been a long show. We talked about a lot of stuff. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Starting off with Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. Honestly, while it seems like this would be an easy choice to do some sort of trickery and sorcery and tomfoolery to make Alexa Bliss win pretty decisively, I could also see this being a match where somehow Eva Marie finds a way to pull it out and uses Piper Niven, aka Dewdrop. I'm sorry, I think I'm getting more accustomed to the whole Dewdrop thing, so maybe next time I'll just call her that. But I think that she'll be able to use her to will herself to a victory. That is my, I guess, not even out of the box. That's just my cynical side thinking. Just to kind of keep Eva Marie as this untouchable force, in the sense of she doesn't really do much in the ring, but somehow she still reaps the benefits of winning, which is kind of wild. But yeah, I think Alexa Bliss ends up with the win just because I don't think they overthink it too much. But if the other thing happens, I would not be surprised at all. Our United States Championship match, Sheamus versus Damian Priest. It's been a cool run with Sheamus, especially when he first got the belt. He really went against guys who, didn't really get much TV time. Really was a big proponent, and Ricochet coming back, Humberto Carrillo, just to name a couple of guys. But I think that it's time for Damian Priest to really get a belt. In terms of really competing for the WWE Championship, I don't know if that's going to be in the cards for him, but I think that he could be a really nice mid-card champion. So I got Damian Priest. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. This is Jinder's first big feud back in years. I actually can't tell you the last time he actually had a legitimate feud. It was on TV significantly. Honestly, I have no clue. But I think that I'm going Jinder mainly because I feel like he's not going to defeat Drew McIntyre clean. I think that it's going to be one of those matches where the rules say that, his lackeys can't be at ringside, but somehow they find a way to make it happen. Mainly because I think that they want to find a way to extend it and somehow implement the sword in some way. So, hey, Extreme Rules, which I'm going to, you could do that. Also, just what else are you really going to have Drew do? The draft isn't until, I think, October now, and you're not going to have him face whoever wins the WWE Championship, when I get to in a minute. So I just think that it's cool having Drew do different things, especially as a face against someone who is so clearly a heel that just has no fan love whatsoever. And so I think that, at least for me, I think it's a pretty easy decision to have Jinder win. Of course, he doesn't win clean. Moving on to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. I got the Usos retaining. Not much really to say here. I think that the bloodline continues, and while the Mysterios are also a great bloodline in their own right, I think that with the Usos, they elevate the tag titles more, and I feel like you can do more with them, especially with the return of, the Street Profits, with Montez Ford getting back healthy, and just any other tag teams you want to implement it with. Whereas with the Mysterios, it's kind of how much further can you really go? Raw Tag Team Championship. This is where I see RK Bro winning it. First things first, I'm so happy to see Randy Orton back, because even though he just looks like he just does not give a damn, I love him. I've loved Randy Orton for a long time, and the dynamic of him and Matt Riddle has been great. Do I like it as much as the Broserweights? I don't know, because y'all know I love me some Pete Dunne, but it's getting up there. And I think RK Bro is a really nice tag team. Plus, AJ Styles and Almost, kind of like I was saying with the Mysterios, how much further can you really take this? I just think that it's about time for a new, a new energy within the tag team division, and also just something fun to do. I just think it'd be fun to see them as champions, fun to see their interactions, and of course, even more fun to see them have matches against each other, because I feel like Randy Orton and Matt Riddle are going to put on some bangers, as I don't know if I can say the same for AJ and Omos, like going against each other, but I mean, it's about time they go back there. They're separate ways. All right, WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. I'm not picking Goldberg to win anything. I don't care if every sign says he's going to win, even though I don't think that's the case this time. I'm going Bobby Lashley. Edge versus Seth Rollins. Now, this may be the men's match. Actually, no, not men. This is the men's match that I am most looking forward to for SummerSlam. I think that Edge has really come in and really diversified his playbook a little bit. Like, I think that what we're seeing from Edge is better than what we've seen from him, the last time he was in the ring 10 plus years ago. And it's really exciting to see his growth and evolution despite being almost 50 years old. And then Seth Rollins, is just one of the best in the business. He's drip. He dripped out, between him and Johnny Drip. It's really tough to pick who's the drippiest. But Seth Rollins is definitely doing his thing on SmackDown. Plus, like I mentioned, he's a great wrestler. He's an amazing heel. And yeah, so it's definitely like the men's match of the week. Well, at least I take that back. Of WWE that I'm most looking forward to. But in terms of who I think is going to win, I'm going to say Seth Rollins. I think he needs it more. While it's really no shame in saying that you lost to Edge, I just think that with what's going on recently with Seth Rollins, like he really, Cesaro feud, he pretty much lost that. Hasn't been the title picture in a while. Not saying he should instantly be implemented in it, but I do think that in terms of who needs it more, I think Seth Rollins. In a recent interview, Edge talked about his character is like, you can't kill Edge. Edge is going to be Edge forever. And I would agree with that. And I think that Seth Rollins is also like in that stratosphere of just being one of those like untouchable characters in the sense of everybody knows that Seth Rollins is the man, even if he doesn't have a championship. But I do think that just kind of to legitimize him even more, especially as someone who could be seen as a title contender, I think that this is a big win that he should use. And I think that Edge, once again, kind of similar to what I said with Jinder and Drew, like he doesn't have to beat Edge clean. If he does beat Edge clean, that could definitely be like a great, selling point for him. But it's something that could propel this feud for a while, because realistically, outside of going against each other, I don't really know who they would face, because I don't think that either of them would really jump to face Roman. And then who else on SmackDown? Maybe Big E, but it looks like Big E and Baron Corbin are going to be doing something. Maybe by the time I record this, they add this to the pre-show or something. I don't know. I'm recording this at 1:22 a.m. on Friday, so this is before SmackDown. So if anything else happens, I didn't know. I can't tell the future, despite my name. But yeah, I'm going Seth Rollins. Next up, Raw Women's Championship, Nikki ASH defending her title against Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. The Nikki ASH experiment has been cute, but cute next to gorgeous. Gorgeous is going to devour cute every time. And in this situation, you have two gorgeous options in the sense of Charlotte, who we all know is an accomplished champion, most decorated women's wrestler in WWE history. And if you ask me, she truly is the queen. I would argue all day that she is the greatest woman to step foot in the ring. But more importantly, to this right now, she gets legitimate fan heat. Fans on the whole do not like her for things that she really can't control. But then again, if fans hate you and you're a heel, that means you're doing your freaking job. So screw them. If she got to put the middle finger to the fans like she did at Money in the Bank after she put on a banger with Rhea Ripley, I'll take that every day. And then the other gorgeous option, Rhea Ripley. I think that Rhea Ripley, I'm not gonna say she got a raw deal as Raw Women's Champion because she was a solid champion. I just think that she would really benefit from being champion again and like getting more opportunities to face the rest of the roster, because most of her time as champion really was spent Asuka, and then it was just Charlotte for a few months. While they put on great matches, like I said, I think that match at Money in the Bank probably is my favorite Raw/SmackDown match of the year so far. Like it would be cool to see her as champion again and like really get to face new opponents. With that being said, I could totally be wrong with this and Nikki ASH retains, but I'm not buying that stock too heavily. I'm gonna say Charlotte. And the main reason why I think that Charlotte is going to win. And no, it does not have to do with my fear of not picking Charlotte at pay-per-views, because it seems every time I don't, she wins. But I just think that I you know me, I try to stay away from the rumors and the blogs because I find all that annoying. I like finding out things as it happens. I don't want the spoilers. And I think that everybody and their mother who is a Becky Lynch fan is like banging the drum and clamoring for Becky Lynch to come back. Who better for Becky Lynch to come back against than Charlotte, who has been talking crap about her. Whenever fans say that we want Becky, Charlotte always has a retort. Like, and I understand the argument for her to go SmackDown because her and Seth, but realistically, in terms of storylines, I think that she and Charlotte make the most sense. And if you really want to get that heel heat and that fan support, and if you want to get a big pop, have her come back against Charlotte, beat Charlotte up. If you guys don't remember, reminiscent of 3 years ago, triple threat for the SmackDown Women's Championship was Charlotte, Carmella, and Becky. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And honestly, I think that plays a big role in why Charlotte wins, unfortunately. Or not unfortunately, I don't want her to be champion, but unfortunately, it's like why she's going to lose the championship. Carry on. Next up, SmackDown Women's Championship, Bianca Belair defending her title against Sasha Banks. Now, I'm saying this with the belief that the match is still going to take place. Apparently they haven't done live shows, but until they say the match is not taking place, I'm going with the assumption that match is going to take place. And truthfully, of the card, this is probably the hardest match I've had to predict. Main reason being, while Bianca Belair has been an amazing champion with what they've given her, and I think that her ability and her talent really kind of transcends WWE right now. Like, she has potential to be so freaking big because I've seen her everywhere since she's been champion. Who's to say that Sasha won't come in and by all means cheat? Who's to say that with her new girl crew of Carmella and Zelina Vega, they won't cost her? Maybe she promised each of them a championship match if they help her win. And I just think that between these two, it's not finished. Regardless of who wins, it's going to be a rematch. Hopefully Extreme Rules, like I said, because I'm going. But with that being said, I have Bianca winning, but I think it's going to be like by disqualification. I don't think it's like a very clean Bianca dominates Sasha or dominates Sasha in the sense of there's no doubt that she didn't win. Like, I feel like she ends up getting she wins by disqualification. I feel like she ends up getting jumped. And I don't think it's going to be a clean finish. And with the not having a clean finish, of course, that sets up another match which like kind of prolongs this, which I'm perfectly fine with because both of them are great and I like their chemistry together. So yeah, I would definitely. This one is tough, and I could have argued, same thing for Sasha Banks winning, but by disqualification, but not walking out with the belt. But I think I'm gonna stick with the Bianca route, and it extends to at least Extreme Rules. All right, then finally, main event. The Universal Championship. We got Roman Reigns defending his title against John Cena. I know what I want. I know what I need. I just hope that me and WWE are on the same page because this year has probably been better in terms of like us being on the same page. And that means that Roman should and needs to win. Like, I will say this John Cena return is a lot less painless than the ones in the past few years. I will say that definitively. But also, there is no reason for him to be champion. He's going straight back to Hollywood. He's going straight back to work. He's not going to be here full time. And I'm sick of part-time freaking champions. If you are not going to be here full time, if you are not going to help elevate the title, elevate the brand, elevate the company, go away. And while John Cena is a great money grab and the kids like him, it's all nostalgic. Honestly, Roman, I think, is above all that. I think he's above the nostalgia because honestly, who are you bringing back that really challenges him? If John Cena, while they may trade verbal barbs or whatever, like, I don't see John Cena really being the one to take the belt off of him. If you ask me who I think is going to take the belt off of him, I don't really know because he's just been such a dynamite champion that it's like, why do it in the first place? But also just John Cena just isn't the cat. I'd rather be somebody who's gonna be there full time, who's gonna be able to do the rematches, defend the title, just really give Roman a run for his money. And I feel like in this match he probably will, but that doesn't mean he should. So I'm going Roman to retain. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to NXT TakeOver 36. Y'all know how much I love NXT and how usually NXT takeovers are the event that I'm most looking forward to. In comparing the cards, I'm probably about even this time around. So who knows who will win my affections? We'll find out on next week's show. So let's go ahead and kick this off. $1 Million Championship. LA Knight defending his title against Cameron Grimes. And if he beats Cameron Grimes, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, will become his new butler. While I think the butler thing for Cameron Grimes could have been better, it's still not bad. It gets a couple of chuckles. But I think that the LA Knight and Cameron Grimes thing has kind of run its course a bit. And so with that being said, I do think that Cameron Grimes wins and they kind of like go their own separate ways. Truthfully, I really don't know where the $1 Million Championship goes from here. But if not between these two guys, but I'm interested to see how NXT does it. I trust Triple H's vision enough to for this title to mean something, and then I also trust his judgment enough to where if it's not working, he's not going to try to force it. Cough 24/7 championship. Because why is that still a thing? So yeah, I'm going Cameron Grimes. NXT UK Championship. Walter defending his title against Ilya Dragunov. I'm saying Ilya. But honestly, if Walter just wanted to hold on to this thing for a bit longer until he faces someone like, hell, Pete Dunne again, just throwing that out, I'd be perfectly fine with that. I think that with Walter, in NXT UK, it's just kind of what more do you really have to do? What more do you have to prove? You've beaten everyone, decisively beaten everyone, and there's a whole nother batch of talent on the other side of the pond, and that's just speaking in terms of NXT. And so I think that it's going to be Ilya's time for the UK Championship, and I think that Walter comes over and becomes a dominant force in NXT, really gets Imperium together, and it's just another badass big man, uber athletic dude who just tears the ring up because he's a ring general. He's so freaking good. And I'm excited to see what he can do next. Now, if he retains the title, I wouldn't be surprised or I wouldn't be upset about it. But I think that it's Ilya's time, and I think that it's time for Walter to come to the U.S. Come on. I want to see you every Tuesday night. There's a few dream matches I got lined up. All right, next up, the Undisputed Finale, 2 out of 3 falls match, Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Like I said, I don't like looking at the rumors. I don't like looking at the stories, but I feel in my soul that the days of Adam Cole in the NXT are winding down, and it breaks my heart because I freaking love Adam Cole. If I really had to think about it, he's probably my favorite male wrestler in the business today. And so him being gone actually hurts my soul. But I think he goes out with a bang, I think he goes out in a hell of a blaze of glory, even though he still loses to Kyle O'Reilly. I think that he beats Kyle in the first match. I think Kyle gets him in a street fight. And then when it comes to the steel cage, I think that Kyle O'Reilly ends up winning. Would I want Adam Cole to win? Abso-freaking-lutely. But if he really is going to leave, what better way to elevate your brother than have him win the Undisputed Finale? And it can really kind of set him on, that... Can't think of the word. It can really help make him... Gosh, I can't think of English. Regardless, it'll really help out Kyle O'Reilly a lot if he were to defeat Adam Cole to definitively beat him, especially if Adam Cole is already going to be walking out the door. Kyle O'Reilly's still going to be here. Kyle O'Reilly can really use this as an opportunity to become one of the faces of NXT, if we're being honest. And I think that what better way to do it for your brother? Now, this all means nothing if Adam Cole stays, because, of course, in that case, I want Adam Cole to win. But I still think Kyle O'Reilly wins. All right, next up, the NXT Women's Championship. Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai. I have Raquel winning, mainly because, actually and only because, not even just mainly, I think Dakota Kai goes to SmackDown or Raw, and Raquel stays in NXT for a while and remains that dominant champion. As much as I would love for Dakota Kai to finally get her comeuppance and finally become NXT Women's Champion, because honestly she could have really became it a while ago, I think that it's time for her to also go to the main roster. I think that Raw could really use her. They could use a new influx of bodies. And I just think, I'm not going to say she's outgrown NXT, because I think that NXT is such a great opportunity for so many people. So I'm not going to say outgrown it. But I do think that the days of her necessarily needing this championship are over. And I think that she can do so many more things, you know, on Raw, like I mentioned. And Raquel can continue to grow and get better on NXT, because in terms of like comparing her right now to the people who are currently in, you know, WWE, I don't think she's necessarily ready for it, as opposed to, you know, Dakota, you could argue, has been ready for it for years, especially after the Tegan saga. She really established that she can be a great heel as well as a great face. And I think it's really just a matter of time before she really takes WWE by storm. And speaking of storm, hey Tony, and I'm just excited to see what she can do next. Now, of course, this is similar to like Adam Cole. Like, if she stays in NXT, I want her to win 150%. But I do think that Raquel is going to be the winner of this match. And then finally, Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross. I don't think I can put into words just how excited I am to have Samoa Joe back in a WWE ring. I freaking love Samoa Joe. I love his look. I love his voice. I love his promos. I love his wrestling style. I love Samoa Joe. He is, in terms of just all encompassing, like everything wrestlers do, he is definitely one of those guys who, had the injuries not kind of taken him out of action, he would easily be at worst in my top 15 all-time favorite wrestlers. And that's at worst. He really could be higher. I love just about everything about Samoa Joe, and I'm going to love it even more when he has gold around his waist, because he's going to beat Karrion Kross. And Karrion Kross has been a very dominant champion. He has. Has he been one of the best NXT champions? No. Has he been good as other NXT competitors who were not champion? No. Like, if we're doing a hierarchy here, there are people I would put ahead of Karrion Kross. Namely, you know, that one guy who, if they want to make Adam Cole feel special, all they got to do is ring the freaking bell. Like, it's a few other guys who I would put over Karrion Kross in terms of just talent. Which sounds bad, because not to say that Karrion Kross isn't good, but I just feel them more. I like them more. I'm more invested in them. And Samoa Joe is definitely one of those guys who you get invested in, because he is just so unapologetically him that it's like, it's almost impossible not to gravitate towards it, because he's just so freaking authentic. He is so freaking real, and just the emotion he puts into everything and the excitement he puts into everything and just how serious he takes everything just makes him so freaking awesome to watch and makes me such a huge fan of his. And it's only right. The circle of life, baby. 3-time NXT champion. You know, NXT is going through a different turn, a new direction. Well, hey, Samoa Joe can help steer that ship. With all the changes going on, and he can definitely be one of those consistent pieces, one of those guys who make sure that NXT stays the course, stays great, because Samoa Joe is a draw. Just see the fan reactions for him. Even when he was on commentary, people love freaking Samoa Joe. And I'm going to love him even more as NXT champion.